We are in the middle of ski season, which is super exciting, but oftentimes from sitting on the ski lift, from falling, from pushing ourselves harder than we normally would, we get really tight through our hips and our low back, and we get pain through there. So this is a great little home program you can do on your own to help alleviate some of that pain and keep yourself flexible and mobile for the rest of ski season. So we're gonna start standing. We're gonna roll down one vertebra at a time. So I want you to start by tucking the chin into the chest. After that, you'll let your shoulders roll forward. The chest will start to drop inward. And we're gonna round one vertebra at a time, working through the upper back first, into the mid back. Let the arms hang, roll, feel each vertebra as it moves out of its straight position into a new relaxed position, out of alignment. Low back starts to release, and we're gonna hang. We're not gonna push or pull ourselves into this stretch. We're just gonna let gravity assist us, and then we're gonna use our breath to get a little bit deeper. So as you hang out here, notice where you feel tension. What is keeping you from getting deeper into the stretch? Maybe it's the backs of the legs, maybe it's the calves, maybe it's your low back. Just notice where it is most. Inhale, and as you breathe in, try to direct that breath into that area of restriction. As you exhale, see if you can release some of the tension with your exhale. And maybe you'll get a little bit deeper into the stretch. If you don't, that's okay. We're gonna do this again. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, try to release your tension with the exhale. If you did not get deeper into your stretch, don't push yourself to try to get deeper. So you're not physically going to start reaching deeper into it, because as you do that, what the muscle does is instead of lengthening, it contracts to guard itself. So we're gonna try with the breath one more time. Inhale. Deep breath out. Allow yourself to just melt into this. And then we'll start to come up one vertebra at a time. So you're tucking the tailbone. You start to restack the vertebra on top of that tailbone. Resetting all the way from the base of the spine upward. Last thing should be shoulders, then the head, coming to the top of your movement. Shoulders and the head come forward. Chest starts to cave in. You can do a soft bend to the knees. You don't have to lock them out. Don't cause yourself to pass out. One vertebra at a time, moving down along the spine to the base of your range. Once you get here, deep breath in, direct it to your area of tension, area of restriction. Exhale, see if you can get deeper into the stretch. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. One vertebra at a time, start to roll yourself out of this. Or maybe you stay down there and do a couple more breaths if that felt good. We're gonna do this one more time all together. So chin, shoulders, chest, moving through upper back, mid back, low back. Some of you, this might take longer because you've locked up throughout your spine and you've created adhesions around it. It might take a while to feel each vertebra move independently. That's okay, take your time. Once you get to the base, inhale, release with the breath. Breathe in. Release. Breathe in. Breathe out. And we're gonna walk our hands forward, drop the knees to the ground, bring the hands right underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. Starting from the base of the tailbone, working our way up the spine, just like with our roll downs, we're going to tuck the tailbone underneath, work through that low back to start to pull the vertebra up towards the sky. The rib cage starts to pull towards the pelvic bone so that you're rounding through the mid back. Push into your hands, creating some distance between the scapulas and the upper back, and then drop your head. Once you're here, you can nod yes, you can shake no, whatever feels good, however long you need. But when you're ready, untuck the hips, starting with the tailbone. Let the belly button start to open up towards the ground. Rib cage expands, flaring open towards the floor. Shoulder blades draw down the spine, opening the chest, and look up towards the sky. Tuck underneath, one vertebra at a time, working your way up the spine. Last thing that happens is the head drops. Nod yes, shake no. And then starting with the tailbone, lifting up. You can pause this video and do this movement for as long as you like. I go for at least 2 minutes when I do this, but if you want to go for longer, that's great. So from here, we are going to spread our legs a little bit wider without moving the feet. So feet stay about hip width apart, knees go wide. As you inhale, walk your hands forward. We're going to shift the hips forward, drop your right hip and look over your right shoulder. As you exhale, take the hips back into child's pose, lengthening out the spine. Inhale, shift the hips forward, drop your left hip, look over your shoulder. Exhale, hips go back, lengthen the spine. Inhale, hips forward, drop, look over that shoulder. Exhale, back. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, back. So this should be a groin stretch. If you're feeling your low back, you're probably dropping too much here without thinking about staying tight in the front of your body. So if you're not feeling groin, you're feeling low back, see if you can take those knees a little bit wider without losing restriction to forward back motion. So knees wide enough that you feel that groin. And then as you come forward, think about all of this in the low abdominals staying tight. Drop without getting into extension. So dropping to open the chest, shoulder blades down the back, then look over your shoulder. And that should help keep this out of the back and bring it in between the inner thighs. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Again, for as long as you like, you can pause this video, do it for longer, that's great. But what we're going to do next is bring that left leg through. So I was here, now my left leg comes through and I'm gonna sit back, which automatically brings me into my mermaid pose. If you know me, if you've taken classes with me, you know mermaid pose. If you haven't, this is it. So my left leg is in front, my left foot is next to my right knee, and my right foot is back. So I've got more than a 90-degree bend in each knee. From here, I'm going to take my hands, frame my front knee. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, come forward and then crash like a wave at the bottom and roll up. Inhale, lengthen the spine, come forward as tall as you can until you lose it. Roll yourself up. Breathe in, lengthen. This time we're gonna hold at the bottom, pretend you lost your keys at the bottom of the chutes, and then shift forward on your exhale. Inhale, shift back. Exhale, shift forward. Inhale, shift back. So this is a slow movement, fanning open the upper glutes. Walk your hands to the outside of that left hip. So your left hand is in front of your left hip. Your right hand is in front of your left knee. Inhale, shift forward into this right hand. Exhale, shift forward or shift back into the left hand. Inhale forward. Exhale back. So we're opening up our hip flexor and getting into the psoas as we shift back and forth. If this feels good, stay here as long as you want. But when you're ready to move on, we'll take that right hand on top of your left. I'm going to turn so you can see a little bit better. So we were here, shifting, and now right hand is going to come on top of the left. I'm going to look behind me for my right foot. So if you cannot see your right foot behind you, you might be restricted in the hip flexor. So you might be maybe reaching here without opening. So think about squeezing your butt forward on that right side so that you're opening into this hip flexor and getting that twist. Okay, so exhale, look back over your shoulder. Inhale, follow your hand with your gaze, open the chest. Exhale, look back, opening the hip flexor. Inhale, exhale. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, exhale. And you can lower down to your left elbow, walk it back until you feel this hip flexor open up on the right side. From here, I'm going to inhale, open my arm up towards the sky, reach to lengthen the side of my body. And then as I exhale, I'll turn my chest towards the ground. Inhale, follow the hand with my gaze, opening my chest up towards the sky. Exhale forward, inhale, open. So as you do this, you should not feel any pain throughout any of these movements. So if you're coming back and you're like, oh, that's super painful through my neck or my back, don't push as deep into the movement. Just work with the range that you have available to you. We'll do this for a little while. When you're ready, you can take that right arm, reach long, and then pull, bending at the elbow like you're side stroking through water. Lift up, following with your gaze, opening towards the sky, reach overhead, and then bend at the elbow, coming through. So again, we're still stretching this hip flexor out, getting into psoas, we're getting into the lats here. The lats are the connection from the upper body to the lower body. So a lot of times if your lats are tight, you'll feel low back pain and your hip flexors will get tight in turn. Now we're going to push up to that hand, keeping your legs how they are. You're going to take your front leg and extend. So this back leg stays bent, front leg extends. You can move over from the side of your hip to the top or the back of the hip. And then both hands come to either side of the leg. You could do a soft bend here if you need to. Hinge forward and go side to side. And you can control coming forward and then maybe you shift back, just creating some movement and fanning motion through that glute and through the hamstring. Bring your hands behind you, bend both knees, take the knees side to side, and see if one hip feels different than the other. What range do you have available to you? Are you able to get both knees to touch the ground? Or do you feel like you get restricted and you would have to physically push to get here? Does it come naturally? Just check in, make mental note of those things. And take the knees over to the right. So mermaid position, we're taking both hands to either side of that right knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come through to the bottom, roll yourself up. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, come through and roll. Last time, coming down to the base and going side to side. Inhale forward, exhale back, breathe in, breathe out. Stay there as long as you like. When you're ready, hands come to the outside of that hip. Inhale forward, exhale back, moving with your breath. Inhale forward, exhale back, side to side. Again, stay there as long as you like, but when you're ready, transition so you can see me better. When you're ready, stack your left hand on top of your right, look back over the right shoulder for your left foot. Inhale, open. Exhale, close, letting that hip flexor open up to look back behind you. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. And when you're ready, you can come down to that elbow, walk it back until you feel this hip flexor open up. Inhale, take the arm overhead, follow it with your gaze. Close the chest towards the ground on the exhale. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Again, do this as long as you like. But when you are ready, you can start going into a side stroke through the water. Big breath up, reach overhead, and then side stroke through. Inhale. Follow the hand with your gaze. Staying for as long as you like. When you finish up, sit up tall, take your front leg, extend both hands to either side, and then shift forward. You can do a bend in the knee if it's too tight in the hamstrings, but you're coming forward with the body and then back. Shifting side to side. Hey, hey, hey. No mouth on that. That's yucky. From here, we are going to check in with our range of motion again. So slide that foot up next to the knee. Take your hands behind you. Knees go side to side. Was there any change? Do you feel looser? What do you feel on that leg that we just worked versus the first? And then we'll come into a half kneeling hip flexor stretch. So right knee down, left leg forward. We are going to stack it so that your hips are even. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see a little bit better, but think about the knee is right in front of this left hip. My right knee is right underneath my right hip, and I've got a 90-degree bend in each knee. From here, I'm going to tuck my hips, and a lot of people don't understand what that means. If you look at my spine throughout my low back, I've got slight spine extension here, but if I tuck my hip bone, which right now is pointing at an angle forward, if I tuck it, it's now pointing out in front of me or towards this front knee. As soon as I do this tuck, I feel a stretch in that hip flexor, so the front of the leg. That's what I'm looking for. If I don't tuck, I can come forward and go all the way to the ground without ever feeling this stretch. If I tuck and hinge forward, I have this stopping point that feels like if I tried to push deeper, I would pull something. So, tuck, hinge, feel that stopping point. From here, because our right knee is down, my right hand is going to inhale, lift up towards the sky. As I exhale, take it over across the body so I'm getting even more length throughout the side. Big breath in, lengthen. Exhale, reach. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, drop your shoulder forward slightly, and you're gonna get a stretch through that upper back as well as in the hip flexor. Inhale, reach to the diagonal. Exhale, drop that shoulder forward a little bit more. Inhale. Exhale, sweep that arm through. Inhale, bring it up towards the sky. Exhale, lean. Inhale, lengthen. Make sure you're still tucked. Exhale. Inhale. Breathe out. Maybe you drop that shoulder forward a little bit. Inhale, reach to the diagonal. Exhale, drop the shoulder forward a little bit more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay, do that as many times as you need. Always thinking about this tuck, staying engaged so you still get this stretch here, as well as now along the body. So we're getting into the psoas, we're getting into quadratus lumborum. If any of those get tight, and we're getting into lats too. If any of those get tight, then they can cause low back irritation, hip irritation. And if our lats are tight, they're the thing connecting our upper body to our lower body. So if lats are off, hip flexors are going to be off. Everything's going to feel tight, uncomfortable, painful. So keep these nice and mobile. So if you want to join me for the other side, you can do as much on either side as you like. I'm just going to do 2 rounds on each. But we've got our 90-90, tuck under, hinge forward. So now I feel this stretch here. I'm going to inhale my left arm up towards the sky, getting this length throughout the left side of my body. Exhale, lean across to the right. Feel that stretch rise up into the quadratus lumborum. And then inhale, lengthen. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, drop that shoulder forward slightly. It's a very small movement. Inhale, reach to the diagonal. Exhale, drop the shoulder just a little bit more. Inhale. Exhale, swing it through. Again, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, reach. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, get a little bit deeper into that side bend. Inhale, get long. Exhale, drop the shoulder. Breathe in. Breathe out, shoulder drops a little bit more. Inhale, reach to that diagonal. Exhale, swing it through. And you can repeat or be done.